Hello, everyone. It's been a minute. I'm your host, Monty Brown. I have returned with, well, good news. So, this is going to be probably like a little bit of a short episode. Actually, I'm not really sure how long it's going to be, but it's basically going to be catching us back up on what's been happening and why everything's been so topsy-turvy lately and why you guys haven't been getting episodes. Um, but we'll just address the elephant in the room. We've been on hiatus. And I have been meaning to let you guys know we're on hiatus. Except I just never was able to get around to it. I'm not gonna lie. Now, the reason for this hiatus that needs to be stated so that you guys don't think that I'm just slacking off is simply the fact that I had got so overwhelmed with all the projects I was doing that I ended up just shutting down and doing none of the projects I was doing. So, um, obviously, I still have more stuff coming around to do stuff for the channel that I haven't, well, is being worked on currently, but we haven't disclosed yet. Obviously, there's the comic book that I'm working on, there's the book that I'm working on, and there are the two systems, the two tabletop systems that I'm currently trying to work on and make rule sets for, like proper books. Those will eventually be coming to you guys at some point within the future, right? Um, but I'm still working on them. But just gonna have to take it step by step at a time, you know. Um, Along with that, luckily, the little bit of ability we have been able to do is we've been streaming still, and we've actually been streaming a lot more than we used to stream. So that's been fun. We were streaming Crow Country actually recently, and I need to go back to Hellblade because the Hellblade 2 is on there as well. So we also watched the showcase. So just to let it be known, we've seen it. Uh, there was a lot of stuff to be announced, and probably a bunch of stuff we'll be playing soon. So that's gonna be really fun. But just general kind of catch up kind of thing, just to let you guys know that we're still working on things and things are on their way. And sorry for the big delay. We're probably gonna be going back to stuff now. Just give us a little bit. We're trying to just finalize some details with some things. Um, More so than anything else. Uh, but that being said, I'm glad to be back on this mic and be talking to you guys again because I'm admit it's been rough. There was just a level of burnout that was just happening, a little bit of discouragement, things of that nature. But we're back at it. It's really weird because I definitely came into season 4, year 4 of this, definitely raring to go, wanting to put like a whole new step forward into this, becoming even better, bigger, and ultimately I just kind of was like, there's too much going on, right? But as always, we still got our hoodies and stuff like that. They're available. We're working on other projects with that as well, so that's still there. You could still do that. We're actually working at a special deal, but we'll talk about that later. Well, at a different date, I should say. Um, that being said, you guys come here for gaming news and what we've been playing, what we've been doing, what we've been doing, stuff like that. So, I will regale you with the tales of things that I've been playing so far within this time period, this era of just being gone. Because we never truly stopped playing video games or watching shows and things of that nature. So that's gonna be fun. Um, I'll let the boys explain what they've been doing at the next podcast because it'll be their time to play catch up, essentially with everything that's been happening because everything that they go through is very different from what I'm going through with everything that's on the plate. But obviously, well, I won't say obviously, I finally beat Unicorn Overlord. What a fun game! I highly recommend it. Vanillaware has done it again with a very excellent game itself. I'm enjoying that. I also got to, I mean, first off, the art on it is like amazing. So final review on that, I guess I'll say is I'll probably walk away saying it's a 9. It's a really fun strategy game with some really great stuff, and there's stuff that I haven't even done in it yet, but I actually just finished the story. The last bit ramps up pretty nicely, and I was invested basically the whole way through. I would probably say I kind of got a bit more fatigued towards the end, only because I had been doing it for like 100, 200 plus hours at this point. So, um, some of the stories I'll say for like the last continent isn't as strong as some of the other ones that happened before. Um, I personally kind of feel like if there was a gripe that I had with it more than anything, I feel like the stories happening in the last continent are stories that probably should have took place before to give more context and more meaning to certain characters because albeit in the game you can romance people but not in the same way as a persona, but basically kind of you choose your favorite waifu or husbando, honestly none of them really matter for the most part, and that's who your partner is for the foreseeable future and how you kind of navigate the landscape essentially, with these two essentially either going to be king and queen or partners in ruling. um so thought that was super cool, but um in that one, just to let everybody know, I think I picked I think it's Yuffie or Euphini, the one from the northern continent, um, the red haired girl from the northern continent with the plaid. She's like an archer. She's really cool, actually. I liked her. Um, I ended up picking her, but the reason why I say that with everything that's happening in the last continent that you do is because it gives context to certain characters who are clearly supposed to be the big pick, the one that they're pushing, so to speak, in the game, because every game like this has like a canon girl, right? So like Persona in each of the games have their own like each canon relationship, quote unquote, right? There's like a girl that they push over the other ones in comparison. In Unicorn, it's Scarlet, and the reason why like this is so important for me to be saying in this one is because a lot of Scarlet's stuff, despite her being with you from the very beginning of the game, a lot of the things that happen and give important story details to her happen at the end of the game after you're given the option to pick. So basically, and I mean, I could have waited till I got to the end of the game and then picked, but I wanted to kind of make it seem like it was a natural flow through. So I picked your because you can basically pick who you give this special ring to. It's known as the Ring of the Maiden, right? It's supposed to be the counter, well, not counter, the complementary ring of the Ring of the Unicorn, which is supposed to give you a certain level of like power and like stuff like that that is supposed to be helping in a lot of what's happening in the game. I don't want to spoil too much, obviously. Um, but it gives you a certain level of power over things. And the person that you give the Ring of the Maiden to is supposed to be your partner in that sense, and they basically both the rings bolster the other, essentially. So it's supposed to represent an unbreakable bond, and you give it to someone who you expect to never have that bond broken. Which is why, to be honest, it could be done with anybody. It's smart because it's supposed to be representative of a bond. It just happens that all the girls, or most of the girls in that, take it as a marriage proposal because that is kind of what it sounds like, honestly, on paper. Um, Super cool, right? It's I just found it weird because the Canon Girl stuff is all at the end of the game, and so like, but like you're presented with the option towards like the dead middle. So obviously, by the time you find any extra content about your quote unquote main chick, you're already you've already fallen in love with someone else. Clearly, like it's so easy. um, but that's a thing, right? That's like my only real gripe. I think that the combat's really cool. I think that how they do things is really nice. Um, I think the other thing that they could have used, they do have a fast forward mode, but like just a double tapped fast forward mode would have been nice. Something just a little bit quicker than what they had, but it's fine. And the only reason why I say that is because even though it has these really nice, gorgeous animations, and I basically watched it for the entire game almost. The only time I really started hitting fast forward is again towards that last continent, and when I started, and I only started doing that when started skipping fights mainly when it became to a situation in which I knew I wasn't gonna kill the enemy, but I also knew that like my team was fine, so I didn't need to pay attention to who was lost and things like that. So I just started being like, okay, we're gonna skip this battle because they're not gonna die and they're gonna have to run it back again anyway, or we're going to just fast forward through this one because I know how this one's gonna play out. I'm not really too worried about how this is playing out. This is an important fight. And then when I got to things that were like more important, like actual base captures, or like a boss, or like story things, I was well story fights, like story events during the combat. I was like, all right, let it play, right? Let's let it rock. So that was fun. Highly recommend it. If you're one that likes strategy games, highly recommend it. I'm probably gonna start playing Valkyria Chronicles now. Four, I think it is. I think it's four. The newest one, just simply because of the fact that like I love Valkyria Chronicles, but I didn't want to start playing that game knowing I was playing on a completely other strategy RPG at the same time. It was just it's just gonna take too much. I was gonna end up playing one and not the other, and it's gonna be too much. So that's gonna be fun to jump into soon. Been a huge fan of Valkyria Chronicles, but like I never finished a single one of them. I owned two, but I just never finished a single one of them, and I'm kind of like upset at myself because I actually really like the world and how they do stuff in those games. So I think that's gonna be fun to mess around with. Um, the other thing I was playing, there's a game that came out, which is super up my alley. It's a 3D platformer called Rakugeki or RGK. Let me see. I could tell you in a moment. Where is it? Where are you? Yeah. Uh Arcade GK, which is if you know anything about me, you know that 3D platformers with well actually the thing that really did it was more so graffiti powered uh characters in Cyberpunk world, which to be fair, you already had me at graffiti powers and then you also had me at Cyberpunk. So like the meld is kind of crazy. But graffiti powers in Cyberpunk world, 3D platformer, have fun. You get really fun movement, which is also another thing that's like right in my alley. Having a lot of fun with that one. That one's super fun. Go check that one out, please. It's a smaller game. I think it's like 20 or 30 bucks. It's not a lot, but it's definitely like worth your time and effort and just your attention. Honestly, just go check that one out. I'm surprised that it's like fully voice acted. Honestly, I just was not expecting that. Admittedly, um, it's fully voice acted and it's smooth. It's surprisingly well. I say surprisingly. When I initially found the game, I saw it through like Instagram. I was like, okay, this seems. I hope this is not like an endless runner or like a just like one of those fake games I'm not like you don't really want to mess with. But I went to try it out because it had my attention. It was not it's super fun. I think it's awesome. I like the idea that you surf around on paint essentially because you spray it. That's your speed, and when you start to get in a flow of like moving around and doing things as quickly as possible, you go into a flow state that makes like you kind of like stronger and you run through enemies and things like that. It's really fun. You get like a little overshield over you. Really cool. Highly recommend it. It's not gonna take very long to beat. I haven't beaten it yet. I probably will really soon though, because I've just been kind of playing it in little chunks. Um, but super cool. Especially, and it's got the level design kind of thing down to where you kind of want to run back levels to do it faster and get things better. Like it's that kind of game. So highly recommend it. Um, what else we got? Oh, I did play Cyberpunk, but I never got to the end of that DLC. Cyberpunk 2077. You know what? Kudos to that game with all the updates that's come out and all the things that's happening. It's genuinely worth going back to if you already own Cyberpunk and put it down. I'm not gonna say if you own the PlayStation 4 version, but at this point, if you own the PlayStation 5 version or the PC version or any of those versions that aren't the PS4 version, and I don't think it has an Xbox One version. Don't play that either. Actually, just don't play that version of the game at all. I think they might have fixed it, but I don't. I wouldn't even risk it. Um, but if you want a copy that is of next gen or PC or current gen, I guess now at this point, and PC, I highly recommend just going through it and playing it. The game's so much funner now. Like I'm not even trying to be like an apologist for it. It's done a really good job at trying to make your money that you spent on it worth it. And I gotta give it credit. The DLC is really good. So that's sick. I'm glad that it's made its way back up to something amazing, actually, because the saddest part about Cyberpunk, especially as a person that managed to finish it with very little bugs, is that I found that the story and the world were so cool. Like the stuff that was happening in it was so interesting and so fascinating, but like I can't recommend it because it literally is falling apart on everybody. So I'm glad that it's finally at a point where I can actually talk about it and be like, yeah, go play that game. It's fun. It's cool. Like it's super enjoyable now. It's actually worth it. Let's see. We also, I know I dove into Hades 2. So that one's in early access. I gave it a shot. I'm enjoying it. Kind of some cool little details that are happening. I like playing as Zagreus' sister, his little baby sister. She's basically the result of everything you did in the first game. Thank goodness, right? But unfortunately, Kronos has to go mess things up. So I'm hoping that we're gonna have the story unravel and figure out, because I would love to hear how Kronos managed to beat Zagreus, because that's crazy. At least to me. I mean, because the homeboy was going through it. Like he had to fight his dad. I mean, like, granted, he's fighting Hades, and Hades never actually beat Kronos, so would inherently be stronger. But it's just the amount of stuff that Zagreus has had to do. I'm like, bro, that's my boy, bro. He's the protagonist of the first game. How he out here losing? um, and apparently Kronos has done something to them, and I'm looking forward to seeing exactly what that is, because I haven't discovered what that is yet. And I'm looking forward to seeing how this game unfolds, because they got a couple new little nuanced stuff that's in there. Like, for instance, you can sprint in this game, and sprinting matters because you have sprint attacks and things of that nature. And someone might be go like, hey, why does sprinting matter? Well, considering that before you could dash and just move, sprinting gives you an extra boost of speed while you're moving, but then you can also dash, which means that your movement is now way faster in general in Hades 2 than it was before. Got a bunch of new weapons coming. I want to see what they are. Some of them already looking kind of crazy. The sister blades look nice. I like them so far. But that's the only weapon I've unlocked. So, we'll see how that plays out. I'm going to keep messing around with that when I get the chance. Let us look over to see what else I've done. Obviously, I mentioned we were playing Crow Country on the channel. That's been fun, right? So for anybody that likes classic Resident Evil, go check that out, or you can watch us play it, either or. But that's been really cool. Uh, I find that it's really nice and quirky. It's cute, despite it being a horror game with a bunch of crazy crap happening. It's cute. A lot of the characters just seem to be kind of like weirdly nervous, and our main character Amara is surprisingly level-headed for someone that is clearly not supposed to be doing what she is doing. Is the best way I could describe that. Um, but that's a fun one. Go check us out. I jumped back into X-Men Origins Wolverine because why not? I'm basically excited for the new Wolverine game, and since the only good Wolverine game that exists, besides maybe that X2 Wolverine game, but that one's a little weird because it's like stealth. Uh, is this one? And so I'm like, bump it. I'm gonna just play X-Men Origins Wolverine again. Yeah, that game's super fun. It deserves it. It deserves all the praise it's got. I'm not gonna lie. But I'm gonna keep playing that and enjoying that one. That's just like a little side thing I've been messing around with. But let's see. What else? Raw Metal is out. So Raw Metal is the Sifu-esque roguelike where you are trying to go through bases. You are sneaking around in bases, which is the weirdest part because it turns into a top-down game when you do it. But you're sneaking through the game through bases a la Metal Gear until you are in a fight, or basically the exclamation mark goes off on somebody's head, and then you enter a fight in which you're fighting literally with Sifu cameras. Get that third person, well, cameras in combat. You're trying to stun opponents, juggle them. Actually, juggling them is probably the craziest part, almost like a la Tekken. Um, Juggling them and doing what you can to make sure that you knock them out as efficiently as possible, and then you're not trying to get hit more than 3 times within an encounter, and then that's it. You dip out, keep it moving, keep it pushing, and keep doing what you gotta do. Really a fun game. I recommend it. I recommend testing it out. Also an indie game. Go take a little look sees, right? See if you like it. It's not gonna cost you too much. Take a little look see if you're vibing with it. You like what's happening. You like what's being cooked up, and then there you go. You have another fun one on your plate. So that's another cool one that you guys can check out. Let's see. We also was a squishy recommendation, so I actually wanna shout this one out specifically because how much fun. Um, we're playing. It's called Bronze Beard Tavern. Bronze Beard Taverns. It's basically a bunch of dwarves serving goblins, and it's a it's like a shop simulator, but it's up to 8 players, and it's free, which is crazy. So if you want a free game to play with your friends on PC, and you need up to, I mean, you don't need 8 people. You can play up to 8 people, which I mean, there's just not a lot of games that do that. That's for you, and it's not going to take anybody. It's not going to cost anybody anything. It's free. So go check that one out. You guys can work together. It's basically like Overcooked, but like it's a bar. Um, Super cool. Go check it out. Or Diner Dash is the other one I'm thinking about, but it's a bar and you're gnomes. Well, my bad, dwarves, and you're serving goblins. What's another one? What's another one? Let's look. Let's look. I definitely have been playing. I saw it a second ago. I've been playing this game called Awakener. Let me see. I want to talk about this one more. Technically, it's a roguelike character action game. I'm playing a lot of roguelikes lately, apparently, as you can tell. Um, this one's a fun one, actually, but like I want to get a little bit more into it before I do any recommendations. But if you like the idea of like, well, a Dark Souls slash, we'll say Dark Souls slash like Infinity Blade aesthetic going on, um, but it's character action like Devil May Cry style combat happening. Um, but it's a roguelike. I think you should might want to just check it out. It's smooth. It surprisingly plays a lot better than I thought it was going to. It's a little got a little I want to say jank because jank's not the right word. It's a little stiff, a little stiff. I really want to like present that. It's a little stiff, but like everything it's doing does flow naturally and work. So like it's got like that, we don't have all the polish we could possibly have, but like it works really well. Like I think it's really nice how it plays. Um I've also been playing a lot of Battle Shapers. For those that don't know, that is the Mega Man esque inspired first person shooter that is also a roguelike. um I was super excited about this one a while back. I think I talked about it when it first came out anyway. I've been playing that, but now I'm like, I think one of the crazier updates came out at this point, and I've been playing that a lot recently. That's been fun. I like where it's gone, and it looks really nice now. I was able to do a really good run recently because of it. Beat like 2 of the bosses, and only didn't win against the same boss that I can never beat. So like, but I fought it last, so it got stronger. um. But that one's a cool one. I definitely recommend going back and playing Battle Shapers. If you haven't been playing Battle Shapers, you should. Let's see what else we got. Mm, honestly, I think that might be it. I mean, I got a couple games I wanted to jump into at some point, but I haven't been really able to jump into them the way I want to where I can recommend it or say certain things about it based on really giving a first impression. Like I have Megaton Musashi, this W Wired. Yeah. That game looked really cool. I haven't even gotten to play a single thing of it. I booted it up once. And that one's like a really cool one. So I'm looking forward to actually getting into that one. Uh though if you want to see more gameplay, I'm pretty sure they're playing it on Woolly Versus just straight up. So like if you want to go check that out, because I don't think there's a lot of people covering this game. As far as I've seen, there aren't really a lot of people covering this game. Um, and then I also started playing some other classic games. Like I managed to get Power Stone running, and I'm hoping to do something with that one because I love Power Stone too. Actually, I just love Power Stone in general. I just need Capcom to make another Power Stone game, honestly. Um, I was messing around with rival schools, so I'm looking forward to getting something going with that one as well. So we got rival schools. We got obviously we've been running through some PS2 games occasionally because we got a working proper PS2, to run games through and do stuff. So that's gonna be fun. I basically did the same thing with the Dreamcast, so now we can see what we might be able to come up with those. Um, Obviously, there's been a ton of games that came through on the showcase though. I'm trying to think of everything that's come out, but there's a lot. So I'm just gonna see if I can remember what exactly I was the most excited for out of all of them. Uh, let's see, let's see. Let's see. I'm just gonna go down my YouTube feed at this point. There's just so much crap that came out. So obviously we have the Metal Gear Snake Eater. That's looking really good. I mean, I like in front the remake looks amazing. I was wondering if Namco might mess it up. I mean, my bad. I said Namco. Konami might mess it up. Apparently, it looks like they're doing good. I forgot I was playing some Elden Ring because I'm getting prepared for the new DLC that's dropping soon. So that's also another thing I've been messing around with because that looks good, honestly. Let's see, let's see, let's see. What else have we been looking at? That one, but that one definitely struck me as one of the ones I'm like, yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm excited for that. The DLC looks crazy. We also have a Shovel Knight, Shovel of Hope DX. I think this is a remake. I'll look into it a little bit later though. They might have actually. Oh, obviously Monster Hunter Wilds. Monster Hunter Wilds looks crazy. Okay, so based on the trailers and one of the things that I've been trying to figure out, but it looks like we can swap between two weapons, primarily a ranged and a melee, at any time, and I'm kind of down for that. It's giving God Eater, and God Eater is a really cool game, so I kind of like the fact that they kind of it was like we could do some of that, because having two weapons in one is really nice sometimes, man. Um, but I'm wondering if that just applies to everything or if it specifically you know if it's specifically like a melee weapon and a ranged weapon, or could it be two melee weapons, or could it be two ranged weapons? Like how does that work? I also forgot while I'm scrolling, I also checked out and beat the final shape for Destiny 2. That DLC is amazing. I'm not kidding. I'm so glad that the Destiny's story for 10 years at this point has ended on a really, really high note, and I like what they're doing with each of their following episodes so far. Basically, covering some things that we just haven't been able to address because it just doesn't make sense to address them during like, a universal crisis. But how we deal with the witness, how all of that plays out. It's really cool. It's really fun. If you haven't played it, if you've been following Destiny for as like long as everyone else has, or as long as it's existed, I recommend that now would be the time to jump back in and finish the fight because it's cool. I'm not gonna lie, it's really good. I really enjoyed myself. DLC is so different from anything that they've ever done. Like it is, they actually dug in their bag and went back to their Halo roots. Bungie basically did, because the way the campaign plays out, it's just straight up a campaign. Like it is not like you go here and do this thing kind of affair, talk to this guy, go back to this planet. No, it's just, hey, you're in here for the long run. You're going to run through all of these levels and you're going to kill as many aliens or weird crazy uh, Lovecraftian bat with wing and gun thing as you want to or need to get yourself to that last boss, and then once you do that, we kick it off with what I will say is probably one of the coolest events they've ever done. Which this technically is not a raid, but I also kind of look at it as a raid. But if they have a big event, a 12-person event in which you take the final, you basically land the final nail in the coffin against the witness. and I think it's super cool. I think you guys should check it out. I think you guys should play it. It's a really fun encounter. And if you don't want to play it, I mean, you can always watch it, but I recommend playing it because it's fun. It's really cool. So, I mean, obviously, I said a lot of things on here is really cool, but I enjoyed my time with it. I basically got to the end of it and was like, damn, bro, like, I haven't been this satisfied and this excited and had this much fun with Destiny since, like, the Taken King. And I feel like a lot of people basically go, like, it hasn't been this crazy since the Taken King or since, the Vault of Glass, even, like, in the very first beginning. And I'm not gonna lie, this one hit harder than any other deal. Like, I'm really not trying to glaze it. I'm not. I'm trying to give it a fish. Me personally, this particular DLC hit harder than any of the other DLCs that they've had, and I have played every single one of them damn DLCs. They have not ever hit as hard as the final shape has. Like, Taken King is the one that to me comes the closest because that's the one that everybody says comes the closest, right? And they're pretty even, right? One might be above it. I'm putting the Taken King a little bit below, just for the simple fact that, like, the final shape really does, like, wrap everything up for the most part, and, like, there's a feeling of, like, damn, like, the story is coming to a close. Now, that being said, there's words that there's going to be a Destiny 3. So I don't know what new crazy thing we're fighting, but the idea of we fought against what our fate was supposed to be, quote unquote, and now we have true freedom. Like, there was always been something manipulating. The witness has supposedly been manipulating everything in the background for as long as he has until now, and now we are finally free to run into whatever problem we can ever hope to fight against. Right, so that's gonna be interesting. That's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fascinating in its own right. So I'm looking forward to seeing where they go with that. I'm trying to also see what else we got on here. As I'm trying to scroll, there's a lot of stuff to be honest, but there's nothing. I mean, it's been a couple days, so nothing's coming up right now. Obviously, they had the Assassin's Creed Shadows DLC. Some of us are quite excited for it, and some of us are a little wary about it. But for only because of the fact that it's Assassin's Creed and had nothing to do with any of the weird, dumb controversy that surrounded that. Yasuke was a real person. Like, he existed. Yes, he wasn't a samurai at the time. He does become a samurai because he was a retainer, and then he actually inherited and everything associated with his master originally, because he was under someone originally, and he became the samurai basically. So that is why he's. It's just so dumb why people are really weird about that. Um, but I look forward to it. It looks kind of fun. It does look like a poor man's Ghost of Tsushima, but the craziest part is Ghost of Tsushima was quality, and as long as it's trying to imitate quality in a good way, it probably will be quality. Let's just hope. Plus, I have a feeling that the only reason Ubisoft is even hitting this big red button, so to speak, of let's go to Japan is because they're in trouble, and so they're probably going to make this, play good. For the first time in an Assassin's Creed, like, well, I wouldn't say history, but in a while. It's been a minute since they've had a really good Assassin's Creed game. Now people might scream at me and be like, "What do you mean Valhalla was not that long ago?" And so was Odyssey and Origins. Origins was the first time that they ever did something different. Truly, they needed to do that to mix up the formula. And I'll say that that game was really cool. I liked it with the setting and everything like that. Everything else subsequently kind of just it improved on it, but it wasn't really Assassin's Creed. By the time we hit the Viking one, we're not really even doing assassin shit. We're just Dark Souls and and I'm like, what is happening? But we'll see what else did we get into. I know we watched some things, but I can't remember what. We also got the Lollipop Chainsaw remake for Repop trailer, as is what it's called. Looks really cool. Can't wait to buy that one. Because it's been a minute since I've played Lollipop Chainsaw, and I would like to play it again. That game is dumb. the best way I could describe it, but it's fun. Let's see. And I lost my spot. Yay. We love that. Okay. But basically, we'll just leave it at that. Basically, though, I just wanted to go down the list and just let you guys know that we still exist. We still care. We are hoping to play and do more things with you guys in the future, and I'm really trying to figure out a way to work things out and get things to work in a certain way. It's just sometimes it's a lot. Right? Trying to do this on top of work and school and uh also just trying to find new ways to branch out and make this entertaining for you guys while also finding new ways for me to make some of the my bigger dreams or bigger aspirations come to life. It's just been a lot, but I want this to stay. This is, to me, for right now, this is the podcast is the biggest and somehow also most successful thing that I've done, and I want to keep doing it. I do. I don't want it to stop anytime soon. I want it to get bigger. I want you guys to enjoy it. I want you guys to spread the love about it. I want people to enjoy this. And it's not so much that I need people to validate my opinions or talk about how like famous I am or whatever. I don't care about that portion of it. What I want to do is just to have a fun way of expressing my love for video games, my love for movies, sharing these things with other people outside of my friend group who are already people who know about these things and like these things. I want to share it with other people who may not know these things, but know that they like similar things, right? It's kind of the goal. So, with this, I want to say thank you guys for just joining us on the journey that we've been through so far, for sticking with us throughout everything that's been happening so far. And I apologize for the, I don't want to, for letting you guys down in the sense of like not responding and not really letting you guys know everything and not having a level of transparency. It wasn't like we were trying to genuinely, and me, more so me, it's not I was trying to, it was just a lot. What was happening at once, and I kind of just stopped altogether. But I want to bring this back. It didn't die. I was always under the idea that I was gonna start it up again, and we were gonna continue. We were gonna continue. Like it never. It was just I needed a break. I needed a break. I didn't know how to convey that to everyone around me, including my friends. They also know, like my co-hosts and everything like that. They are very much aware that like, I just needed some time. Just take it easy. They'll be on the next episodes. We're gonna try to do some things and make some things happen. But just wanted to let you guys know that we're alive, we're healthy, we're good, we're fine, and we will be coming out with more stuff for you guys soon. This, I guess, is gonna be a mini-sode because it's only like 38 minutes long, basically. But more so than anything, I just wanted to let guys know that we care about you guys. We love you guys. We appreciate you guys. And just do what you guys usually do. Just enjoy the show. Tell people about the show. Talk to people. Recommend it. Do whatever. Give it a little review if you want. I don't really know how that works. But I'm assuming that better reviews give us better exposure or something like that. I don't really know. Like, comment, subscribe. I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm just saying, do the things that like you guys usually do. But normally, and most and foremost, just spread the love. Spread the love. That's our main thing that we do here is just talk, talk to people, talk about not even just the show, but just the things that you enjoy every day in your life, and you want people to know about. You want people to enjoy it as much as you do, or at least even more or less, but you want them to just enjoy it. And so just talk about the things that you enjoy. Do that and have fun with them. And I guess we'll call it on this one. I just really wanted to just put this out there for you guys to just know that everything's all right. But without further ado, we will see you all later. Good night, peace, and all of you have a wonderful, wonderful time. Later.